Hey y'all, this is Cindy. I'm the Tireless Tangler, and you've arrived at Tangle Tuesday. This is the day of the week where I introduce you to tangles that you may or may not know. Tangles are what we call patterns in Zentangle, and let me show you a few. All of the tangles I'm showing you today come from the book by certified Zentangle teacher Brian Crimmons. It is called Zentangle Dingbatz, and it is an awesome book. I highly recommend it. All right, the first tangle I want to show you guys today is called Antique. Now, I have not gone to tanglepatterns.com and looked up the step out. This is one of the earliest tangles that I learned to draw, and so I'm not sure whether the way I remember doing it is, or the way that I'm used to doing it is the way exactly in the step out, but it'll be the way that I handle it, and you can choose whatever way is best for you. This is what we call in Zentangle a ribbon pattern, meaning that it flows along in parallel lines. It's used as a border or as a division on a tile or whatever. It depends on the pattern that you use. So this one appealed to me, of course, because of the floral nature. I am very about the organic stuff. So let me show you how this works. Now, this is one of those tangles that sits inside a set of parallel lines. One of these type, and then you draw in the middle, right? Now, what I'm not sure about is whether in this step out you draw the parallel lines first, or if you do it the way that I do, which is what I'm going to show you right here. But either way, if it works for you, it's fine, okay? So the way I handle this, this tangle looks like this. Oops, Simba is in the house. And then you add some little orbs in. And then you put in sort of these little petals. You can do these pointy or round them, whatever you like. Of course, being me, I like to do this number. Because I am all about the organic stuff. So this is the pattern Antique, basically. Now the way I do it is I put in my oval shapes, or what do you call these ovals? Nicely. These oval shapes, these long, skinny, sort of seed shapes, maybe rice shapes. There you go. I do all of this first, adding my orbs at the points where they come together, and that sort of smooths that transition. Yeah. And then I add my petals. Sorry. And then I add my edges. This leaves me the freedom to do these whatever size I want. It gives me the freedom to have these wings wherever I want and not worry about them touching or going over these lines or having to draw behind or anything like that. It just adds a bit of freedom for me. But again, this is how I approach it. I am not sure what order the step out has this in. So this is how I approach this tangle. You may do with it as you like. One of the beauties of the Zentangle method is that we celebrate creativity. We celebrate the ways that people can vary and differ the patterns, and it's something wonderful. So many people have asked me things like, can I copy that, or can I do that too, or what if I did this differently? Yes, to everything. You can do that. The beauty of Zentangle is the freedom that it brings you to the artistic process. So take that, put it in your hat, think about it. And that is antique. Simba is saying hi to Karma and Max, Brody, Bunny, and all of his doggy friends. Thank you guys for sharing your pets with me. The number 2 tangle I'm going to show you today is called Curly Q. It is by certified Zentangle teacher Diane LaChance. And let me show you how this goes. This tangle starts with a spiral. It can be whatever shape or size you like. Can even be like that, right? Now the tricky part to this, and it's really not hard, is that you then want to start at a point and you're going to make a wavy line that alternates coming through here, right? And you're going to continue that all the way up to the end. So let me show you what I mean. And you can make these skinny. And you can make them wide. You can make them small. So you have a lot of freedom here. And then you just want to join it up at the other end. See how simple that is? That is the entire thing. Now, what do you do with something like this, you might ask me? Well, I have seen examples where people have shaded the insides of each of these on either side, which is a very, very cool look. One thing that you can do with your ink pen is try drawing these little hatched lines. Again, that's something I get a little sloppy with. And you can point them in the direction that you like, so that if you point them always straight down towards the line, you get a curving effect with them, which is also very cool. I'm having a little trouble with this today. That's all right though. Okay, like that. Or you could also black them. I'm not going to do very many. That would take a long time, and I'm not sure I have the ability to slow down that well today, although that should make me think, shouldn't it? Okay. Blacked would give this a very cool effect. And if you're like me and you get in a rush with your blacking because you want to be done, I want you to stop right now, put your pen down, take a deep breath, in through the nose, out through the mouth, and chill out. Now, I shouldn't have done any work here. You want these joinings to be very thin and crisp like this here. Yeah, let me see if I can get this done. And I'll show you if you can do that so that it looks like that it's moving from side to side, if you will. I think you will really like that effect. But I have to be very careful down here where they join, or I can make a thick mess, and that sort of messes up the optical illusion, if you will. There, that's better-ish. But you can see, if you can do that and still see the joining line that goes through, it can be cool. So there are lots of ways that you can handle this. Or you can leave it blank. That's also okay. And this could just be kind of a lacy embellishment around something. So that is Curly Q by CZT, Diane LaChance. And that is our number 2 tangle. Pretty cool, huh? All right. Our number 3 tangle for today is called Fran. It is by Shinmi Sato. She is a CZT. And I love this pattern because it is grid based, but also extremely simple, and the possibilities with it are great. Okay, so we know that I have difficulties with square grids because of my straight line thing. We're going to give this a go. See if we can get it sort of consistent. See, I need squares. Don't get in a rush while you draw your grid. Take your time, breathe. I find that helps me with my line consistency, if that is something that you struggle with. I know I'm not alone out there. Okay, so this is our square grid that we're going to use for Fran. Now Fran is based on drawing a curved line from one corner to the other, like this. And then the finishing part of that is to come up here to a point right below or right above your corner there. No? And I sometimes put a dot there to help me aim correctly, or I get mine off center. Yeah. So in Fran, the original step out, then she sets up her corners like this. And then on the row below, she has got these alternating, so it would be up here and down here. Now, when you draw these in, if you will look at this, as this is a continual arch from one square to the next, starting in one square and finishing in the next, you will get a much more pleasing line between your boxes. So I'm going to do this one the way I mean, and I'm going to take into consideration a nice even curve, and then I'm going to try to do this one as a continuation of the curve in that one. See there? And what a nice line that makes continually from one square to the next. Yes? Okay. And alternating. In this fashion. All right. Now I'm going to and that really does help, that dot. Put a curved line and come to a point there. Let's see, we're going this way. Now in the step out, these all point the same direction, in that you don't do them this way, which you could. It might be an interesting exploration. We won't have time for deep explorations today, but I do want to point out one thing here in just a second. And I think that this is a holiday positive tangle. Yeah, this is so holly-like, if you will, in the way that it's constructed, that I think we're going to see this used as a decoration a lot around the holidays, and this is an awesome one. And of course, if you want to, you can really holly it up by adding some orbs there in the middle, you know, or leave them out and do it straight. Now, another way to approach this, and Brian has an example of this in his book, is to use this tangle but without the grid lines. Okay, now one way you could do that would be to pencil your grid lines, draw this in, and then erase them. But you may be able to, I think I can do this without that, and let's find out. Now, key for this type of drawing would be to keep in mind what your midpoint is, where your center would be, marking your dots in a parallel way, Well, my midpoint isn't quite where it needed to be, but we adjusted. And you could handle it this way. Now you could also then come this way and do your parallel dots coming from your midpoint. Yeah. So it is very possible to draw this freehand if that's what you would like, but if you would like it to be precise, then you can do that with your penciled grid if you like. Now I am tempted right now to turn this around and try this. This is going to be my midpoint. So I'm going to put these here and curve these in. And look at the meta pattern that we've discovered by doing that, right? And this is an easy way to draw this pattern as well, or get this look. So I like that. And if you did two of these together, that would be kind of cool. And again, you could embellish by making auras of whatever kind you like. You could make them straight line or semi-straight, as in my case. Or you can do embellished auras. You know, you can do whatever you like with this. Lots and lots and lots of fun possibilities with it. I also have been itching to try an inner aura on this, which I think would really dress this up. So you guys play with this. Hopefully you're in the Dynamic Dingbatz Facebook group. I would love to see you in there and sharing your art so I can check in on you guys. And that is our third pattern for today. Now I do want to show you two more. I really want to show you three more. So let's get started on the next one and see how our time goes. Okay. Our next tangle is called Jobo tie. I love, love, love this pattern. And you can certainly do it in a square area. So Jobo tie is done like this. In the middle of it, you're going to try to find the midpoint on each side of your tile. That for me is a struggle sometimes. Let's see about here. Make a really subtle mark so you know approximately where it is. Well, that was a really subtle mark on the paper underneath, right? Okay, it's a little dirt. And like that, yeah? Something very, very light and subtle, okay? This will help you with your placement of what we're doing next. All right, now, these are the points that you want to use. We're going to draw a diamond shape in here, or it's going to be a square. But either way, depending on how you angle this, either way, it's going to be the same shape. So I'm going to use this midpoint and this midpoint to draw a line. Yeah? And I'm going to turn this, and I'm going to use this midpoint right here. Make another line. Yeah? Okay. Turning my tile again, midpoint. Yeah. And it's not going to be perfect, but I don't care. It's going to be fine. Now, you have a diamond shape with the points at the midpoints of your square, if that makes any sense whatsoever. I wonder sometimes. Now, you're going to join up your midpoint line with the point of your triangle thing. And if you didn't get it quite in the right spot, make a line straight out from the point to the edge. Okay? And we're going to do that on each one of these points. Okay? Cool, huh? Now the magic happens. So you can do this going whatever way you like. You're just going to make some straight parallel lines in here, some aura lines. that match going one way, and you're going to continue those all the way till you get to the other line. Okay, so this is what you have. Now, in the step out, the next step is to put this perpendicular to the way that you did these lines, right? Perpendicular is when they get like this, okay? So we're going to start this by making a perpendicular line from the corner to the midpoint of this. If we start it that way, our lines are going to be more consistent on each side. And then we're going to finish this off with more aura lines straight out, using that center line as sort of a right angle so that we know that we're pointed the right direction. Yeah. And then here I'm going to bring these down. I'm less well, I think I'm going to point them up. I'm less controlled pulling towards myself some days, and so it works better if I push out some days. So just fill it in with some aura lines, parallel lines. And again, these are perpendicular to the lines you drew in the center. That is probably the only math term you will ever hear from me. Well, I guess I stuck two in between parallel and perpendicular. I should have left that line out, but I did it. There it is. We're going to live with it. Now, same thing in this one. Starting with a parallel line, or excuse me, with a straight line from the midpoint to the corner. And then we're going to fill in each side with aura lines. An aura is a parallel line to an existing line that follows its course, basically. It curves when it curves, goes straight when it goes straight. It's a mirror or a reflection of the existing line. Simba, you're about to be in trouble with me. I'm almost done here. Make sure that you keep your tile turned correctly so that you have as much line consistency as possible. Now, this is the basic pattern Jobo tie, right? One of the very fun things that I get in trouble with on this is rounding. This is so cool when you round it correctly. And so how you would do that, you can also stripe this, leave a sparkle. I believe there's an example in Brian's book where this is checked. Also very, very cute. So let me show you the rounding part here. And you'll see just what a struggle this is. So basically, you want to take the sharp points out of this equation, right? And I'm just barely doing that because you know how I am. You just want to continue all the way across as if these are rounded. Hence the name rounding. Just kidding, guys. I'm just teasing you. And myself. If I didn't tease you, you wouldn't know what to do with me anyway. Alright? So doing that here again. You can do this large and really encroach on this area, or you can do this very subtle. Hopefully the way I'm going to do this. That's what I'm aiming for. But sometimes I just get stuff that's different, and that's okay. The beauty of Zentangle is that's okay. You get something different than somebody else, celebrate. Alright, so something like this. Now, for shading, and you can round the edges of the bow tie, as in you could round these outer edges, sort of like the same way you did on the inside. That is a little problematic. Working on the edge of the tiles can be difficult, so just Keep that in mind when you're in your planning stage. You can see, though, how cute this pattern would be on invitations, right, to black tie types of things. It would make really cute place card holders for people to sit, you know. So I can think of tons of things you could do with this, just right off the top of my head. You could also round it here like this. I have seen this done a whole lot of different ways. There are no rights and wrongs in Zentangle. There is only fun and creativity and doing what you want, which made it a perfect art form for me. Because that's it for me. Not so much with the rules. All about the freedom and the creativity, though. So something like this, right? Okay, so let's shade this really quickly, show you where I would shade it at least. And just because I say something does not mean that's the only way to do it, guys. Again, this is about creativity. Now I'm going to try, since these are a little bit larger, I'm going to try, and if you do this in the small, you may not have the room for this. Oops. I'm going to try shading along one side of this. And this is a Zentangle tile, so I'm going to try to go easy, and this is a number 2 pencil. So it does not matter what pencil you have. I normally like to use my F pencil, but for some reason he has gone missing. We'll be whooping out the whips when we find him, though. Just kidding. All right. So this is the way I would handle shading on this. You may have a different way, and whatever way you choose to do it is not a problem. And of course I lost the small tortillon, so we're going to use the great big one. Great big paper stump. It's okay, it's going to work. And so I would shade the edges on the inside of the part that looks like a bow tie. I love bow ties. I think they are so snazzy. There's a reason I'm single. Because I want to be, that's why. All right. What do you think? Cute with shading, huh? Huh? And the sky's the limit with this on creativity. Now the blank negative space on each side is important for the overall effect of the bow tie. But if you want to fill that with something, you're more than welcome to do that. Our last pattern today is called Jealousy. It is by Stephanie Kukla. And this pattern is based on a rectangular grid. And that is done like this. I'm going to start in with your parallel lines. And this pattern can be done very skinny or it can be done thicker. Just make yourself happy. All right, then because we want rectangles, we're going to divide this, say, well, let's just go down the middle. What do you think? Okay. Now, we're going to alternate and put in some little lines here. Say maybe 3. Now, ideally, you want those to be about the same height, right? And so in the bottom, we want to do that. Oops. There we go. Okay. So in the bottom, you want to do the same thing in the same boxes. So you have both sides set up the same way. Then alternatingly, you want to start here and go down. And you see the original line is part of this. This is the division. One side is going to go up, and the next space over, it's going to go down. Okay, all right, that's it. That's the hardest part. Now, we are going to draw these really fun, oops, I forgot these up here. All right, now we are going to draw one more element into this and we will be finished. And that is what I like to think of as the straight pin. You're going to start on your little three little lines, right? You're going to go out from there, and you're going to make something that looks like one of those straight pins with a little ball on it, right? Now you can put a sparkle or a highlight in these if you want. That one was not very good, but that's okay. And you're going to alternate, come down. Really, the only thing on this is making sure you're coming from the right direction. And remember, you always start your pen, your straight pin here, from the three things and go out. All right. So now you watch me get progressively bigger with my little pin heads. Okay, this is going to make me laugh here in a minute. My little pin heads. So this is basically the Tangle Jealousy, okay, by Stephanie Kukla. And this is, Brian has some really fun examples of this in the book where he has alternated coloring spots. He has used this in some very creative ways, so I really like this. And that is going to be our last tangle for today. Thank you all so much for coming by and seeing me today. I'm going to be here tomorrow with our first day in our zine project. A zine is basically a small hand-drawn sampler that for your dingbat creations, so that you can have inspiration for those. And so Wednesday we're going to form that up, and I don't know how long that will take. If it doesn't take too long, we'll put a design on it. If it does, then we'll start the design process on our zine on Thursday. All right, guys, thank you so much for being with me. I'll see you on